We know China has successfully controlled the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a link to China's wildlife trade. China's dog meat industry is very similar, very resembles the wildlife trade in many different ways. For example, the mode of production, the concentration of a large number of animals, especially animals of physically compromised, mentally compromised, and sick and diseased animals in a hoarding situation on the transport trucks. So these animals are not food that public health hazards. And also, by concentrating a large number of animals in crowded conditions, like the dog meat industry, creates a situation that could give rise to zoonotic disease outbreaks. So I think that China has a lesson to learn from the wildlife trade and outlaw the dog meat industry once and for all.
How is the dog meat industry faring during the pandemic, and how are attitudes towards the dog meat industry at the moment?
During the pandemic, China was locked down for quite a few months, and the dog meat industry was greatly impacted. The industry relies on transport of dogs from other places to the major markets. So a lot of those transportation vehicles were halted. Because of the pandemic and because of rising awareness of the Chinese public about the health hazards of animal products from animals without sources, with unknown sources and origins. So people's awareness of have been increasing. So they try to stay away, of course, wildlife products, and also, especially the younger generation, have stayed away from the dog meat restaurants.
And what about in Yulin, in southern China, where right now the controversial Dog Meat Festival is going on? How has the pandemic affected that?
The pandemic has also affected the Yulin Dog Meat Festival, of course, and because of the reduction of long-distance trucks to Yulin, we have read about rising price of the dog meat because of reduced transportation of dogs into the city. Now, we have to understand China does not have meat dog farms. Most of the dogs are stolen pets and strays and dogs from other unknown sources. So when the traders cannot source the animals, so they cannot send the dogs to the markets. And of course, the Chinese government has strengthened inspection of live transport port vehicles. That also has contributed to the reduction of dogs to the Yulin market.
Now, you've been to the Yulin Meat Festival a number of times. Can you paint me a picture of what are the scenes there? What do the activists see when they go there every year?
Yes, I've been to Yulin many times. The Yulin Dog Meat Festival was officially launched in 2010 by the local traders as a way to boost dog meat sales. Originally, it was supported by the Yulin authorities. So in 2012, for example, at the prime of the festival, thousands of dogs were slaughtered and thousands of these dogs were transported into the city. Now, typically, the city would have different markets for the dog meat, and there is a street full of dog meat restaurants. Now, at that time, 2012, live dogs were even offered for customers to pick and to be slaughtered in public. I would say that dog slaughter is intensely cruel because we all know that dogs are closely connected with the people, they are companion animals.
What about in terms of numbers? How many dogs are killed each year in China?
There are different estimates. One of the estimates believe that China slaughtered about 10 million dogs a year, and that would be translated into 97 tons of dog meat for all the three major dog meat markets. But I want to emphasize this point that dog meat consumption is among a small number of people. It is not part of the mainstream Chinese food culture. What is important to know is that, following the Chinese government's decision to outlaw wildlife trade and wildlife consumption last year, two cities in China, Shenzhen and Zhuhai, decided to also outlaw dog meat sales and dog meat consumption. That's the first milestone step taken by mainland Chinese cities. And also importantly, the Chinese government, the agricultural ministry, announced that dogs are companion animals. They are not livestock animals. So those are the encouraging developments, hopefully, that Shenzhen's experience or experimentation can be implemented across the country.